So after spending much of this legislative session at the Capitol talking to lawmakers and watch the process play out, I came away feeling that there was a strong theme that developed. But before I tell you what that is, let me tell you about just a couple of things that happened. We had a bunch of victories. We repealed the hybrid tax, fought invasive species, got more money for the Idaho Fish and Game Department, found state funding for a Safe Routes to School program, and passed oil and gas regulations. I think it's also important to acknowledge what didn't happen. For the first time in 4 years, not one piece of legislation was introduced that threatened to sell, privatize, or seize our public lands. But it wasn't a perfect session. We did have losses, such as the defeat of a bill giving greater transparency to the Idaho Department of Lands, and the removal of references on climate change from Idaho teaching standards that were written by educators and scientists. Still, in my opinion, it was a really good session when it comes to conservation. I don't want to overstate it and make you think we got everything we wanted. We didn't, but overall the session was pretty good for folks with our values. In other words, the theme of the session was that our values, the values of clean air, clean water, public lands, and safe communities, are Idaho values. And this legislative session was a validation of both what most Idahoans value and pulling on these issues. 73% of Idahoans want to protect our public lands. But there were two other events that really put a fine point on it. The first was a public lands rally where 3,000 Idahoans showed up, even though it was raining. And the second was a climate change hearing that brought more than 650 people to the Capitol in the middle of a workday. Don't worry, we're not letting our guard down. Just because our values are Idaho values doesn't mean politicians will always listen to us. We've seen that before, especially on the topic of public lands. But that's why it's our job to make sure our elected officials are held responsible for their votes. And you better believe we're going to do it. We treasure our Idaho way of life and we're ready to protect it. And we know you are too. See ya.